Pick one and let's do one. You sure you want 10 and not 14? All right, let's take a look at number 10. Number 10. All right, number 10 says, the instructions say find the annual rate. So on I equals PRT, sorry, capital P, PRT, where's the annual rate in the formula? I is interest. Where's the annual rate? R. What it's basically saying is it's going to give us 3 of the letters, not R. Solve for R. That's it. So on number 10, it says you are given $1,240. That is your principal, right? So that means P is 1240. I don't know what R is. It's R. You're told it's 3 years, 6 months. Soraya and others, please put on your mask. I finally came to the realization about 2 months ago. I was like, why do I? Some kid left their mask off, and I was like, who's that kid? I don't even know who that kid is. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, wait, that is one of my students. And then I finally realized why I know what some of you look like. Because you pull your mask down. So that's why I know what you look like. Right. All right. Back up here. 1240, 3.5. Well, yeah, 3.5 years, so 3.5. And we're told that the simple interest is $651. So it's just a simple algebra problem now, right? How do we get rid of the 1240? How is it attached to the inverse? So what do we do? It's attached by subtraction. It's attached by, where do you see subtraction? Where's a minus sign? Right, you believed him. Right? How is it attached to R? If there's nothing there, that means always. If there's a plus, it means it's attached by addition. If there's a minus, it means it's attached by subtraction. If there's a division symbol,
there is a minus symbol.
Where do you see it? Where do you see a minus symbol?
Well, man, if you don't put the line thing.
Right. So how is it attached? How do we get rid of it?
The other one.
Which is?
The line of the top.
We don't use that ever again. Ever.
The line.
The line. Fraction bar. Because when you get to the very next class, pre-algebra and into algebra 1, the difference is that you're not just dividing, I don't know, 8 divided by 2. You're dividing this.
Wow.
That's what you're dividing. You can't use a division symbol any longer. There's just too much stuff. So we don't use a division symbol ever again. We use a fraction bar for division. Because this is what you'll be doing next year, by the way. Because I haven't taught it to you. X squared plus 2x minus 4 divided by x minus 1. All right, next year.
Okay.
All right. So what are we doing to both sides?
1,240 divided by 650.
What's attached to R? Call me bro. I'm trying to get rid of 1,240. I'm not trying to get rid of 651.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
So I'm dividing both sides by 1,240.
And then you divide it by.
Once you get that answer, whatever that is, right? Let's just say it's going to be a decimal, by the way. Let's say it's, I don't know, 0.49 or 48. That's going to equal to 3.5 R. That's not the answer. I'm just throwing a number up there. So what's your last step now? What's attached to R?
3.5.
Do the inverse. Do the inverse.
Line.
Fraction bar. I feel bad putting that number. That's not the right number. But that's what you would do to solve for R. All right. Yes.
It's 0.525.
Is it point? Okay, I was close. What was it?
0.525.
525. Now, whatever that is, that would be the answer. Okay, when I put something like that on the test, yes, I would. The difference is, since we won't have calculators, I'll make the numbers a little bit easier. Right? All right. Here we go. These were the even ones. If all you have are answers on your paper, I need to see the calculations. Right? All right, number 2. There was 2 answers. They said, what's the interest and what's the total? Right? So you take the interest, you add it to the principal, you get your answer. Jake, make sure you're checking your work on your homework.
I did the wrong homework.
Why?
I got the wrong one.
How would that happen?
I didn't write it down properly, and I couldn't read my own
Okay, so where can you always find the homework if you're at home and you're not at school?
I thought it was the right one.
Where can you always find your homework? On Teams, right? Now, if you're checking at night during the weekday, I don't post it till 8 o'clock. So you have to check after 8 o'clock, but it will always be on Teams by 8 o'clock. If it's a worksheet that we do, right, I always post it during the day so that online learners can see it. Number 2, 2 answers. The interest is $1,530. Total, how much you got to repay? $5,780. And these are in dollars. Number 4, interest is $420. The total was $3,920. 420. Number 6, the interest is $2,320. The total is $9,570. Number 8, the interest is $8,409.10. Big number. Even bigger, add that to the principal, and you get $23,059.10. Number 10, when you did that math, what'd you get, John?
6.66666.
No.
On number 10, I got 0.158.
And if you change that to a percent, that's the right answer, by the way. That's, change it to a percent. 14.8%, and the book rounded it to 15%. So you got the right answer. All right, number 12, 17.5%. Number 14, which was the hardest one, 17%. And the last one is 16 is 1 year. And that was it. All right, hold on to your homework. Here's what I need you to do, everybody. Some of you may want to rip this out. Some of you may want to leave it attached to your notebook. I need 2 sheets of paper, right? You can leave both of them attached to your notebook. That's fine. One's for calculations, right? Like doing some problems. One is for a resource card. No options on this test. Okay, resource card. Today and tomorrow, we are going to review for the chapter test. Since every single class period we got a different formula, we got to do a big review. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to have 2 sheets of paper. If you tear them out, that's fine. You don't have to. Okay. If you don't tear them out, 1 page at the very top, you need to do the following. Put resource card, so that there's a chance you will find this come Wednesday when the test is. Test is on Wednesday. We're going to review today. We're going to review tomorrow. Today, I'm going to force you. Jake, I gave you instructions. You're not doing any of it. Do what I asked. Today, I'm going to force you on how you'll do your review. We'll do just a little bit of review. Primarily, all we're doing is making a resource card. Tomorrow, I'm going to give you the same review, different numbers, right? But you'll be doing it on your own. So today's mandatory. You got to stay up with me. I believe in period 1, we figured out there were 8 formulas. We're going to write 8 formulas on the resource card, and then you got another piece of paper for some scratch work. On the top of your page, put resource card. And yes, I'm going to insult all of your intelligence. Over here on your paper, I want you to put on the top L and circle it. Yes, because then, therefore, there's no possibility that you can claim ignorance. Over here, top of your paper, put an R and circle it. Because we will be moving decimal places left and right, now on your resource card, you can look at your resource card and confirm that you're moving it in the right direction. There's no chance of you Well, I forgot which way was my left. It's on your paper. All right. I said 8 formulas. We're going to do this one at a time. Right? It will be slightly painful today because, yes, we will be doing this slowly. All right, Eleanor, let me share with you the right thing now. All right. The very first thing we did, and actually these are not they're in an order, just not necessarily a specific order to the book. Pretty close though. All right. It says what? Grace, read it.
Write each as a percent.
So it says write each as a percent. Look at the problem. What am I given?
0.7.
So I am given a,
Decimal
and I want you to change it to a
percent.
very first formula on your resource card in big bold letters. Underline it. If you got a highlighter, highlight it. Write percent to fraction. Jake, quickly put all that stuff down. You don't need that stuff. You need a pencil. I know, but you're wasting time.
I'm looking for my pencil.
Ready to catch? Ready to catch? Yes. Yes or no? Are you ready to catch?
Sure.
Oh, dear Lord. All right. Here we go. We are going decimal to percent. So on your paper, which I don't see on Carson's, it should have number 1. You don't have to actually label number 1, but it's got to say percent, I'm sorry, decimal to percent. I know, but this is on your resource card. Hey, if I look at Maddie's, right here it says decimal to percent. Perfect. Perfect. All right. You'll be given a problem. You can choose to write this one down. You don't have to. Hey, put all your stuff down and do exactly what I asked. You want steps for this? Step 1. Write that. Step 1. Move the decimal place 2 places to the right. Step 1. Move the decimal place 2 places to the right. Step 1. Move the decimal place 2 places to the right. Step 2. Add a percent symbol. You're done. That's it. That's how you change a decimal to a percent. So let's see. What did step 1 say? If you want to put this as an example next to your work, I highly encourage it. So therefore you have a one that's staring you in the face. I'm coming around to inspect all your resource cards, Lord. So if I were to do this one, it says move it step 1, 2 places to the right, 1, 2. 1, 2. All right. There's my new decimal place, 77, add a percent symbol, step 2, and we're done. Okay, you have no reason whatsoever to get this one wrong come test day. It is literally moving a decimal place 2 places to the right. You also have it written on your resource card. Many of you, I would suggest, put this example. What's up? I'm just saying, we've already made this bet before, but everyone's got to get a B or higher. But we've already made this bet. That was at the start of the chapter.
Yeah, got it.
That's everyone in this room, including e-learners. Everyone.
Who's e-learning? Nathan's
All
e-learning.
right. All right. So, number 1, by the way, I will give you your homework in student advisement. I will hand you this worksheet, student advisement. All we're doing in the class period is making the resource card. All right. Easy or hard? Easy or hard? No, somebody's going to screw this one up. You know why? Someone will be uncomfortable with adding a 0. They're like, well, I know it says 2 places to the right, but there's no other numbers here. So occasionally you have to add zeros. Somebody will miss this one. Easy or hard? Somebody will look at that and say, but I shouldn't wind up with a decimal answer because it says make it a percent. They will be uncomfortable with writing the answer of that. Because they're like, well, it said change a decimal to a percent. It's still a decimal. No, it's not. It's got a percent symbol. It's a percent. Somebody will make this mistake. So for those of you that think they're going to make a mistake, write these two examples down. 0.9 is 90%. 0.002 is 0.2%. For those of you that think that you're that kid that's going to screw this up, write those two examples down. This one and this one. Now it's on your resource card. Now you have a chance of, even on the more challenging ones, most of us would argue this isn't that challenging, to get those correct. But who knows what's challenging to one kid is not challenging to the other. All right, there's topic number 1, changing a decimal to a percent. Topic number 2. So put a 2, skip down a line or so. This is changing a percent to a decimal. So you're going to put percent to a decimal. Nice, bold, underline, highlight, whatever. By the way, this is how the test will appear as well, too. The first thing I'll ask you is percent to decimal. The second thing is going to be, I said that backwards. The first thing I'll ask you is decimal to percent. Second thing is percent to decimal. There we go. All right, write each as a decimal. Step number 1, to convert a percent to a decimal, get rid of the percent, add a decimal place. Get rid of percent, add a decimal place. If you think you're going to lunch today, you are confused, I will inspect your resource card at the end of class. If I don't think you have written this stuff down, you're not going to lunch. You're staying with me for lunch detention. Make your resource card. Yes, I'm going to be a jerk about this. I'm going to be a jerk about this because you got to have a resource card for this chapter. Make sure you have a resource card. Step number 1, get rid of the percent, add a decimal. So let's see, I get rid of the percent, that would make it 40, and I add a decimal place. Oh, there it is. Step number 2, move the decimal place twice to the left, once, twice. There is no step 3, you simply write your answer. I will always put in leading zero, 0.4. I don't need to add the 0, it's just superfluous. All right, extra. No. If you want to write 0.40, that's perfectly fine. Just no one would do that. Yeah, but you would never see that done. It's just extra. Okay. How do you write 100? Well, here's how you write 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got 5 zeros followed by a 1, 0, 0, right? That's how you write 100? Yes. So Macy, why don't you write this as 100? It says 100. Because it seems silly to write extra zeros, which is why we don't write 0.4 as 0.40. We write as 0.4. Yeah, but 100 is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0. Yes or no? You're not following the logic here. 100 can be written with these leading zeros, yes? Why don't we put those leading zeros? So why don't we put this 0 right there? That's the reason. It's just extra work. But no, I wouldn't mark off for either one. But it is 0.4. That's the answer. Macy, these are extra. This is extra. It's not required. Hey, guess what? I can write 0.4 as 0.4 0, 0, 0, 0. These two numbers are exactly the same. I'm writing with my finger, cut me some slack, right? 0.4 and 0.4, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 are the same numbers. We just choose not to write those extra zeros. All right. There is number 2, all right? First one was decimal percent. The second one's percent to decimal. Yes? All right. Is number 5 easy or hard? All right. Well, let's look at the more challenging one. Once this thing goes away, there it is. All right. Easy or hard? Easy or hard? I will have someone make a mistake here. They will think because there's a bunch of numbers there that they got to go 3 decimal places. I don't know why, but for some reason they think, well, it's got to be 0 point something. Changing a percent to a decimal, sometimes you can get a number larger than 1. In this case, this would be 5.08. Easy or hard? I will get a student tell me that this number is already a decimal. It's a percent. I still move it 2 decimal places to the left, even though it starts off with a decimal. If you need to write these 2 examples, 7 and 8, on your resource card, do that with the correct answers. That's 5.08 and that's 0.642. Both instances, it's just moving a decimal place twice to the left. Shame on you if you get these 2 categories wrong. Decimal to percent or percent to decimal. We're just moving a decimal place. On your resource card, how many things you got written now? 2, right? 2 things, right? If you put examples, well, you got more, but I'm saying categories, we have 2. Moving on, 3rd category. What are we doing? Okay, our first hard one, we actually got to do some math on. Okay, this is fractions to percent. Fractions to percent. Fractions to percent. Hey, I'm not joking about lunch detention today. You have to have this written on your resource card. Fractions to percent. I showed you 2 ways of doing this. It is your choice. I called it method 1, method 2 is in the book. Method number 1 is where you take the fraction, you set it equal to x over 100. So step 1, set the fraction equal to x over 100. I like method 1. Step 2, cross multiply. I'm not going to go into all the steps of cross multiply, but just remember cross multiply are these 2 multiplied is equal to these 2 multiplied. Solve for x, that's step 2. Solve the cross multiplication. Step 3, take your answer from step 2 and add a percent symbol and you are done. Step 1, set the equation equal, or set the fraction equal to x over 100. Step 2, cross multiply. Step 3, add a percent symbol and you're done. I'm skipping solving the cross multiplication. It's not that you can skip it, but I'm just skipping the, hey, let's not have 20 steps. Cross multiply, solve for x. Is it 16%? It is 16%. Method number 2, for those of you that want to do method number 2, Caden, you can. Method number 2, divide top by bottom, it gives you a decimal. Step 1 is divide top by bottom. Step 2, 2 places to the, which is why you better have it written on your resource card because you've already forgotten. 2 places to the right, add a percent symbol. Okay? I don't care, method 1 or method 2. There are times when I use method number 2. There's times when I use method number 1. All right, how many things you got written on your card? 3. I said there were 8. All right. Number 9, I'm not going to say it's easy because it does require cross multiplication, but it's relatively easy. How about this one? Any problems with this one? How about this one? Any problems with this one? How about this one? Big problems. What's the problem? Mixed numbers. So I don't know if you want to add this as number 4. The class was saying no. But if you want this somewhere on your paper, if you've forgotten, how do you change a mixed number into an improper fraction? Step 1, take the bottom, the denominator, multiply it by the whole number. 5 times 3 is 15. Add that result to your numerator, 1. 15 plus 1 is 16. And write your answer over the original denominator. Once again, 5 times 3, 15, plus 1, 16, all over the original denominator. Hey, guess what? Are you done? That's just the start. Now you got to set it equal to x over 100, and away you go. So these can become troublesome, especially if you have a mixed number. What part? To change a mixed number to an improper fraction. You see the circle? That's the start. 5 times the 3 is, look at the board, not me, plus the top, all over 5. Yes? No? Maybe? Well, once again, I'm not done. I mean, I got a lot of work here. I got to do this, solve this cross multiplication here. 16 times 100 divided by, or equals 5 times x, divide both sides by 5, done. Add a percent symbol. We good to move on? All right. Next one will look like, let's see, what are we doing next? Write each, what are we given? So, number 4, on your paper, number 4, percent to fraction. Number 4, percent to fraction. Number 4, percent to fraction. Why is your pencil moving? Percent to fraction. Don't tempt me on this lunch detention. Just get it done. You have the resource card done. You get to use it for the next, tomorrow for practice, and then Wednesday for real on the test. Percent to fraction, percent to fraction. All right. Step number 1, erase the percent and write the given number over 100. Pretty simple. Erase the percent. I don't have an eraser. Write the number over 100. Step 1, erase the percent, put the number over 100. Step 2, what'd you say, Caitlin? Simplify. That means reduce the fraction. Step 2, reduce the fraction. What goes into 40 and 100? If you can, right? If you're lucky, I'll give you a number that can't, and you're done. If you can't, let's say it was 19%, right? So you put 19 over 100. What goes into 19 and 100? Other than 1, so you're done. Erase the percent. Yes, but they said 19. A different problem. Different problem. 2 separate problems right here. Yes, 20 does go into 40 and 100. So we get 2/5 as an answer for that one. On the other one, 19 over 100 is the answer. If we start with 19%. All right. Is this an easy one or a hard one? Okay, put it over 100, reduce the fraction. Easy or hard? Easy or hard? I will get some students look at this and they will be confused. What do I do? Nothing changes. You put that number over 100, reduce the fraction. Easy or hard? All right, this is the one we got to look at. You might want to put this one on your resource card. Still the same procedure. We put the number over 100. The problem with this one is it's a decimal. You can't have a decimal in a fraction. So when you get a decimal inside of a fraction, you change it to integers, or I should say whole numbers for you guys. Meaning if we're going to move the top one decimal place to the right, we're going to move the bottom one. In other words, all you're doing is adding zeros on the bottom. So this turns into 808. 80.8% turns into 808 over 1,000, reduce. Sure, 2 goes into that. So does 4. Does 8 go into that? Does 8 go into 1,000? No. So 4, I mean, there's a bigger number that goes into it than 4. But I don't know. I would have to do this multiple times myself. 2 does, so we know that we're going to do it by 4, then we'll probably do it by another number. I don't think 8 goes into 1,000, though.
202.
202?
Oh, wait,
No. All right, since you guys asked, let's do it. Divide top and bottom by 4, and we get 2. No, we'll do it by hand. 202. And 4 goes from 1,000, what, 250 times? Now, notice, and she already did it, notice that what goes in this 2, right? So we get 101. Wait, 8 goes into 1,000. Look at that. Yeah, because 4 times 2 is 8 over 125, and I think that's it. So it turns out that 8 does go into 1,000. So once again, if you rely on your instincts like I did right there, sometimes you may get led astray. So instead of doing that, just do the division. So I was thinking that 8 doesn't go into 1,000 because 8 doesn't go into 100. But it turns out that it does. 8 goes into 10 one time. And let's see. 8 goes into 20. And then that's where we see that it does because 20 minus 16 is 4. So we got a 40 and 8 goes into 45 times. So instincts can get you into problems even when you're a math teacher. All right. Questions? How many things you got on your paper now? 4 or 5. Some people have more because they have more steps. All right, here we go. Here comes the big formulas. We'll finish up with the big formulas. These are called percent problems. Label it whatever number you're on. Percent problems. Percent problems. Percent problems say, I don't know, like this one. 91% or 91% of 5 is 2, something like that. No, we'll do that next. These are just called percent problems. Do you remember the magic formula? What is it? Perfect. Is over of equals percent over 100. And this is one of the ones where you don't have to change the percent to a decimal. One of the few ones like that. And do you remember when I taught this, I had someone read it, and as soon as they got to a magic word, I said, stop. So read it, somebody. Stop. You just got to a magic word. So 91 has to be the is. What percent? You stop. What percent? Well, then that's the X for percent. Let me catch up. And then the last one says of 107. So that's got to be 107. Now, setting up is the easy part. Obviously, you wind up with this proportion that you have to solve. No, I'm not going to talk to you through the steps of proportion. Just remember that's the cross multiply thing. Butterfly method, right? That will end up being where you spend the majority of your work solving for X. You solve for a percent, the answer is a percent. If you're solving for an is or an of, it's just a number. Okay? So technically, this one has 2 steps. Set up your proportion, step 1. Step 2, solve the proportion. Using this magic formula, is over of equals percent over 100. Questions? All right, so that's number 6 or 5 or 7. These don't come in hard or easy flavors. They all involve, unless the numbers are very friendly, they all involve some long division. You got the is over of, percent over 100. Do you have that written down? Okay, step 1 is to plug the numbers into that formula. And you know how we're going to find the is, the of, and percent, yes? Okay, then step 2 is solve the proportion. That means solve for X. When that's done, you're done. All right. Here we go. Caitlin said, are we going to do the percent of change? The answer is yes. Here is your percent of change. Number 6 or 7 or 8, whichever number you're on. Okay. Make sure you're labeling this. You're not just writing random things down, so it's an unuseful resource card. Label this percent of change. Notice this also says state if it's an increase or decrease. Well, that's pretty easy. This one is that's a decrease. If you go from 100 to 5, you're decreasing. All right. We don't get a proportion. We get a formula. Now, most of you, I would bet, have already forgotten this formula. Anybody remember it? What do you got, Carson? I'm going to use some abbreviations. POC for percent of change. Nope. Okay. Abbreviations. AOC, amount of change over original number. I need to get a pen. Okay. Now, where do we get this stuff? Amount of change. Amount of change is you'll have a big number and a small number. I just underlined them. If it's a decrease, the first one's big, the second one's small. If it's an increase, the first one's small, the second one's big. Regardless, you subtract the two numbers, big minus small. 100 minus 5 is 95. That's your amount of change. Original number is whatever number is written here first. All right. So step number 1 is you plug the numbers into your formula. There's my formula. Step number 2, you do this division. So in our example right here, the amount of change is 95. Where did I get that from? 100 minus 5 is 95. The original number is 100. Step number 1 is you plug in the numbers. Step number 2, do this division. Percent of change. Amount of change. That's going to be big number minus small number. If you want to put that instead, you can. I'll do this one for you real quick. 95 divided by 100 is 0.95. I'm leaving off the long division there. I just literally said, I'll do the long division for you. 95 divided by 100 is 0.95. Okay. 100 minus 5. That's the amount of change. Step 3. Step 1 was plug the numbers in. Step 2 was do this long division. Step 3 is you take this answer, you make it a percent. That means 2 decimal places to the right, add a percent symbol. So if I move it 2 decimal places to the right, I get 95%. 1, 2, 95%. Step 1, plug the numbers into the formula. POC is equal to AOC over original. Where did I get AOC? Take the two numbers, subtract them. Original number is your first number. Are you listening? Okay, for the third time, 95 divided by 100. Yes? Okay. Would not be 5. I didn't say subtract. I said divide. All right. These can be a bear because, Danny, because it's a fraction. You got to do some long division. What were you saying, Danny? There's only subtraction and division in this problem. There's no addition. That's subtraction. That's 100 minus 95. It's always subtraction for this one. Now, I'm just saying one particular part of it to calculate amount of change. You still have this division problem. I'm going to claim it's the division that's the hard part. Okay. Does everyone have this written down? This was number 6, 7, 8, or 9, depending upon how your counting is going. It's at least 6. All right. Now, I'm not going to claim that any of these are necessarily easy in the sense of you got to calculate it, but I'm saying in the steps, it's not that big of a deal. I just told you. All right. Is that an increase or a decrease? Okay. The answer isn't just decrease. You got to actually do the calculation, but yes, there's a decrease. Did I give you nothing but decreases? Probably. I can give you an increase or a decrease. Remember, the answer is not just it's a decrease or increase. It's what is that percent of change? Find each percent of change. Stating whether it's an increase or a decrease is pretty simple. All right, here we go. Number 7, 8, 9, or 10 formula. These are called discount and markup. Discount and markup. You get, well, technically it's 2 formulas, one for discount and one for markup. Both formulas look exactly like each other. One is an addition and one is a subtraction. This is a lot of writing, so I'm going to cheat here, and I'm going to, where is it? And I'm going to pull this up. Here are the 2 formulas. For markup and discount, All right, there are two formulas. Now, it doesn't say markup discount, it says final price, because on all of these, you're calculating the final price. The final price, if it's a markup, is the original price times parentheses 1 plus the markup percent, written as a decimal. How about you write the formula down first, and then we'll... It is. Sorry, Danny, for stepping on you. Final price is the original price times 1, and it's either going to be plus or minus. If you're doing a markup, well, the price is increasing, so it's plus the markup percent, written as a decimal. The percent is written as a decimal. And if you're doing a discount, then it's to subtract the decimal percent. I mean, for you, yes, absolutely. There might be a couple kids out there like, well, I don't need to put the, you can put plus or minus the percent written as a decimal. But for most students out there, I would say write both of those down. All right, Eleanor, you're not seeing this, but all I'm doing is showing them the formula. It just says final price is equal to original price times 1 plus the markup percent. And then for discount, it's final price is equal to the original price times parentheses 1 minus the discount percent, close your parentheses. Both of those percents, either the markup or the discount, are written as a decimal. Yes, Connor.
So for the -1 discount percent, I understand it, but it wasn't clear. So what?
Give me a percent.
Yes.
Give me a percent.
20%.
So it would be 1 minus 0.2.
Oh, okay.
And if it was a markup,
Then it would be plus.
so it'd be 1.2.
Oh, okay. And then you times that by the original price.
And you're done. You got it.
Yep. That makes sense.
And the reason why this 1 is here, because it's 100% plus the markup percent. Or if it's a discount, it's 100% of the price minus the discount percent. All right, back to where we were at. So, is this a discount or a markup? So, the selling price, that would be your final price, right? Would be equal to, what's the original price here? Times, open parentheses, 1 plus or minus. 1 plus or minus. Minus 0.16. So what this really boils down to, where's my pen? There it is. What this really boils down to is, oh dear Lord. Let me try that again. What this really boils down to is 1 minus 0.16, which would be point what? Point what? 84 times the original price, which is that big ugly number right there. Plug that number right here. And if it was a markup, what would be the only difference, Connor? So it would be 1 point. No. 1.16 times this big ugly number. Because it was a discount. Yes. You see where it says the word original price? Not -1, minus the percent. Look at your formulas that you wrote down. So if it's a discount, which this one is, it's 1 minus the percent written as a decimal. And the only difference is a markup, it would be 1 plus that. But it's still just original number times some decimal number. Don't write down my scribbles. It's 0.84. So it'd be 0.84 times 8, 3, 4.99. Now, clearly I can make a pretty simple problem into an ugly one just by making the numbers ugly. If the original price was $10, the percent was 20%, this would be one you could do in your head. But as soon as I make the number really ugly, then all of a sudden it becomes, it's only challenging not because of the steps, but because the numbers aren't friendly. You just multiply these two numbers together and that's it, you're done. Like I said, this one's only ugly because it's $834.99. The formula is take the original number, which is $834.99, and multiply it by 1 minus the percent, written as a decimal, which is 0.84. Multiply it by the original number and you're done. It's immaterial to this one right here, right? It's not friendly numbers. Connor, it's in dollars. Say that again. I'm not 1 minus 1. I'm subtracting something smaller than 1. If I subtract something larger than 1, I would get a negative number. I'm not. Don't listen to this. 1 minus a number smaller than 1. Hey, take 10. Give me a number bigger than 10. 10 minus 20 is negative. Now give me a number smaller than 10. How about 5? 10 minus 5 is not negative. 10 minus 5 is 5 because I'm subtracting something smaller than the original number. As long as you subtract something smaller than the original number, you get a positive number. Just whatever you get when you get the answer. That's it. Whatever you get is the answer. Oh, you could do that. Yeah. That's up to you. All right. The last formula is the one that we just had for homework, which was simple interest. Last formula, formula number 8 or 9, 10, 11, 12, however you're counting. I stands for interest in dollars is equal to the principal, that's capital P, times the interest rate written as a decimal times 10 in years. I said that all messed up. Times time in years. Thank you. I is for your interest. This was last night's homework, Macy. Okay. P is principal. Write it down. Trust me, you're going to want to write it down right now. You'll see why here in 30 seconds. R is your interest rate written as a decimal times time in years. Does everybody have it written down? I won't be doing an example because this was the homework. All right, get your resource cards out. Here's the deal. It was the same deal I made in period 1. If everyone has those 8 written down, hands up. If everyone has this written down, hands up. Don't touch your papers.
Hands up.
Hands up. If everyone has, no, hands up. So I don't see anyone moving a pencil. Here's the deal. If everyone has those 8, obviously some people are still trying to finish the last one, has it written down, guess what you get? You get to use a calculator on your test.
Gosh.
Yes.
I see 8.
Okay, everyone.
I don't want to see anybody grabbing a pencil. I see 8. I see 8.
I need my calculator.
Don't be that kid. I see 9.
I have one.
I don't know what I did. I just made a bunch of boxes.
I see 8. It's gotta be on. I see 8.
You can leave it. Alright, then I'm leaving. But I will wait for
Hold on. Don't be that last kid that allows us not to use a calculator.
No,
Yeah, I actually did.
that's so mean. You only look at Richard.
Pick the right day not to screw up.
Yeah, because he's really smart. Yeah, but we still. Yeah, I also only so that I could use you on.
All right, we can use a calculator on the test.
You didn't know.
All right. I'm not collecting homework. I will give you credit for it. Tomorrow, student advisement, I will hand you your practice. You don't. Oh, you mean the total price?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just you take your interest, add it to the original price to get your total. We'll talk about it tomorrow, make sure everyone's clear on it. All right, Eleanor, I can't inspect yours, but you may use a calculator on the test as well, too.
Okay.
All right, any questions?
Nope.
You can already see the practice one. We're gonna do 2 days of this. I just want to make sure like 100% everybody can do this. Just make sure when you do the practice test, you check your answers, make sure you're getting the right answers.
Got it.
All right, catch you tomorrow.
Bye.
See ya.